In the cool shade of a grand banyan tree, the Buddha rested, his presence a calming beacon of peace. The surrounding air hummed softly with the sound of rustling leaves, a natural symphony of life's continuity. Master, I carry resentment against someone who wronged me deeply. It festers in my heart and clouds my spirit. He fell to his knees before the Buddha, his breathing shallow, carrying the weight of his troubles. Great teacher, the farmer began, his voice trembling like a reed in the wind. My mind is tormented by endless worries, leaving me restless and consumed by my failures. He hesitated for a moment, his eyes searching the serene face of the Buddha for answers. I have lost my ox, and with it, my ability to plow the fields that feed my family. The Buddha regarded the farmer with eyes full of compassion, his gaze steady and unwavering like the mountains. Sit with me, child, the Buddha said, his voice as gentle as the morning breeze. Let us examine the nature of your suffering, so we may better understand its roots. The farmer sat, his movements stiff, as if his burdens weighed down not just his heart but his body too. The Buddha picked up a small stone and placed it delicately in the farmer's hand. Feel the weight of this stone, the Buddha instructed, his voice calm and measured. It is small, yet persistent in its presence, much like your troubles. The farmer nodded, gripping the stone tightly, as if testing its significance in his mind and heart. I feel it, he said quietly, his voice carrying the seeds of curiosity amidst his turmoil. Now, the Buddha continued, imagine adding another stone, and another, until your hands can no longer hold their growing burden. The disciples watched with wide, curious eyes as the Buddha handed the farmer another stone, then another, each one heavier than the last. Tell me, the Buddha said, when your hands grow weary, what will you do? The farmer stared at the pile of stones cradled awkwardly in his arms, his brows furrowing with thought. I suppose I must set them down, he finally answered, his tone uncertain but resolute. The Buddha smiled, a faint curve of serenity on his lips, like sunlight breaking through morning clouds. Precisely, he said, your burdens are no different. Each worry is a stone, each regret another weight upon your spirit. He gestured toward the ground before them, where the farmer now began setting the stones down, one by one. But teacher, the farmer asked, looking up at the Buddha with earnest eyes, how can I let go of what belongs to me, even if it burdens me so? You perceive the stones as yours, the Buddha replied, his voice gentle yet firm. But they are not who you are. He reached out, brushing his hand against the earth, drawing a line in the dust to let go. One must first see clearly. Observe the stone, name it, then ask if it serves you. The farmer examined the largest stone in his hands. Its edge is rough against his skin, its weight a growing strain. This is my fear, he whispered, naming it aloud, as if the act itself loosened its grip on his soul. Slowly, he placed it on the ground, a breath of relief escaping his lips. The Buddha nodded approvingly, his expression warm, like the welcoming arms of a long-lost friend. Each stone you release allows room for freedom, for peace, for the lightness of being. Do not rush, child. This is a practice, not a destination. The farmer's shoulders began to relax as if the very act of setting stones down lightened his entire being. But teacher, a disciple interjected, their voice clear yet tinged with caution. I will try, master, the disciple said, his voice trembling but resolute, to release the ember I have held. The Buddha's smile deepened as he replied, every step toward forgiveness is an act of courage and love. Yet, each time they do, remember this moment, this practice. You now hold the power to release them. The Buddha turned toward the monastery, his figure illuminated by the soft glow of the moon's embrace. His words lingered in the air like the fragrance of blossoms carried by the night wind. Great teacher, he said, bowing deeply, his voice steady like a river finding its course. I feel as though my soul is lighter, my path less obstructed. Your wisdom has freed me from my own grasping. The Buddha raised his hand, a gentle gesture of humility, and spoke softly. Remember, child, the path to freedom lies within you, not in my words alone. Practice release with each step, and suffering will find no place to root. The sun began to set, casting a golden hue upon the scene. As the farmer rose and walked away, his stride lighter, his gaze lifted, the disciples remained seated, their hearts heavy with introspection and their minds pondering the weight of their own burdens. One disciple broke the silence, his voice quiet yet filled with determination. Master, is it truly possible to live without stones, without burdens in our lives? The Buddha turned to him, his face serene, and said, to live without stones is not the goal, my child. To carry them wisely is. The Buddha inclined his head slightly, his voice steady and warm. Guilt, like fire, consumes unless it is transformed into light. But Master, she protested, how can I forgive myself when my actions caused pain and sorrow to another? The Buddha reached for a nearby twig, tracing gentle patterns in the soft earth, and spoke with deliberate calm. Do you see this twig? He asked, holding it aloft so sunlight caught its delicate contours and fine texture. The disciple nodded, puzzled, her curiosity piqued by the unexpected object in his hand. As the Buddha sat beneath a towering tree, a young monk approached, his face streaked with tears of humiliation. Master, the monk said, bowing low, his voice trembling with sorrow, I have been mocked and ridiculed by my peers without cause. His hands clutched his robes tightly, his anguish palpable, like a storm raging within the confines of his chest. The Buddha regarded him with a gaze as serene as the still pond before them, his presence an anchor of peace. Sit beside me, child, the Buddha said gently, gesturing toward the soft grass. Share the weight of your heart, and let us discover its source. The monk hesitated but finally sat, his movements reluctant, as though his shame sought to tether him in isolation. Their words echo in my mind. Master, the monk confessed, his voice catching as if choked by invisible hands. I cannot find peace, for their ridicule consumes my thoughts. Master, the disciple said, is self-forgiveness like the river, a merging of my guilt with the larger flow of life? Yes, the Buddha replied. It is the release of self-condemnation into the stream of compassion and interconnectedness. But, she asked, her voice tinged with doubt, what if those I have harmed do not forgive me for my transgressions? The forgiveness of others, the Buddha said, is beyond your control, yet your responsibility lies in your actions henceforth. Throw it into the water and observe what unfolds. The monk obeyed, selecting a small stone and casting it into the pond, watching as ripples expanded outward in concentric circles. Closing her eyes, the disciple folded her hands in supplication, her thoughts reaching toward the person she had wronged. The Buddha observed her, sensing the sincerity of her intention, a quiet strength beginning to blossom within her heart. Now, he said, breaking the silence, what do you feel as you release your sorrow into the current of the river? I feel, the ripples are gone, Master, and the water is still once more. The Buddha nodded, his smile gentle, as though the entire universe shared in his understanding. Stress is like those ripples, my child, he explained, his words carrying the weight of timeless wisdom. When the mind reacts with anger or sorrow, it stirs the waters of your soul. The disciple bowed deeply, her heart alight with a newfound sense of purpose and a deeper understanding of herself. The Buddha placed a hand on her shoulder, his touch conveying reassurance and encouragement for the journey ahead. For life will always cast stones into our waters. What you can choose is your response. whether to let the ripples pass or to stir them further. "Thank you, Master," she said, her voice steady, "for guiding me toward the courage to forgive myself and grow." The Buddha's smile was radiant, his presence a beacon of serenity and wisdom under the vast expanse of sky. "They pierce my heart as if they were daggers, not mere pebbles." The Buddha leaned forward slightly, his posture conveying both patience and encouragement, as though he were steadying the monk with his presence alone. "Words have no power except what we grant them," the Buddha said, his voice a quiet yet resolute melody. "When you cling to their meaning, you give them weight, release their significance, and they will fall like leaves upon the wind." The monk looked at the Buddha, his eyes wide with newfound understanding, though traces of doubt lingered at the edges. "But how can I release what feels so deeply embedded, Master?" he asked, his voice tinged with the fragile hope of one seeking freedom. "Begin with observation," the Buddha instructed, his hands gesturing toward the pond once more. "Do not judge the ripples or wish them away. Simply watch them as they arise and fade, without grasping." The monk turned his gaze back to the water, his mind now intent on the lesson unfolding before him, as if the pond itself held the secrets of the universe. The silence between them deepened, not as an absence of sound, but as a presence of clarity and intention. After a time, the monk spoke again, his voice steady, though still tinged with emotion. "The water remains still despite the ripples that came before. Master, perhaps I too can learn this stillness." The Buddha smiled, his expression radiating the quiet joy of one witnessing a flower bloom. "You have already begun, my child," he said, his tone soft but filled with conviction. "Each moment of awareness is a step toward freedom, a reminder that the ripples are not the water itself." The monk bowed deeply, his heart lighter, though he knew the practice ahead would require patience and perseverance. "Thank you, Master," he said, his voice sincere, the gratitude in his words as clear as the pond's reflection. The Buddha raised his hand in a gesture of blessing, his presence a beacon of peace and understanding. "Carry this lesson with you," he said, his voice a gentle reminder of truths eternal. "And when the ripples return, as they surely will, remember to trust the stillness that lies beneath." Another day, the morning sun bathed the land in golden light, its warmth gently stirring the stillness of the air. The disciples sat around the Buddha, their eyes reflecting the quiet anticipation of seekers yearning for wisdom. A wealthy merchant approached, his attire lavish, but his face bore the weariness of a life filled with demands. "Great teacher," the merchant said, bowing low, his voice tinged with exhaustion and faint hope, "I have come seeking peace in my chaotic existence." He held a finely crafted cup, its surface gleaming as if a symbol of his affluence and restless pursuits. The Buddha gestured toward the soft earth beside him, his expression calm and inviting. "Come, sit," he said, his voice as gentle as the rustling leaves. "Let us explore the nature of your discontent together." The merchant sat hesitantly, his movements careful, as though the weight of his responsibilities clung to him like an invisible chain. "My days are filled with unending tasks," he confessed, his hands trembling as they gripped the cup tightly. "I am overwhelmed by the expectations of my family, my business, and my ambitions." The Buddha regarded him with compassion, his gaze steady like the roots of an ancient tree holding the earth together. "Pour the contents of your cup onto the ground," the Buddha instructed, his voice calm and resolute. "Release its contents, and let us see what remains." The merchant hesitated, reluctant to part with the fragrant tea that filled the cup, a reflection of his attachment to his life. "But Master," he began, his voice wavering, "this tea is valuable, crafted with care and meant to be savored." "Indeed," the Buddha replied, his tone serene, as though cradling the unspoken truths of the universe. "And yet, its value lies in what it offers. not in clinging to it. Release it and discover what follows. The merchant exhaled slowly, his hands moving cautiously as he tipped the cup, allowing the tea to spill onto the earth below. The liquid pooled briefly before seeping into the soil, leaving the cup empty, its surface glinting in the sunlight. What do you see now? The Buddha asked, his voice carrying the weight of a gentle but profound inquiry. What remains of the cup when it is no longer full? The merchant studied the empty cup, its hollowness stark yet strangely liberating. It is empty, he said, his voice filled with quiet awe. Each disciple carried the teachings within them, their spirits buoyed by the Buddha's timeless wisdom and unwavering compassion. Thus, another lesson unfolded, inspiring the disciples to navigate life's challenges with the raft of compassion and forgiveness. So too must your mind be emptied, child, he said, his tone as steady as the flow of a river. Only when you release what burdens you can peace find space to dwell. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video. But the choice to empty it is always yours to make. He paused, his eyes tracing the movement of a falling leaf, its journey a silent reflection of impermanence. Each time you empty your cup, you reclaim the freedom to decide what it shall hold. The disciples listened intently, their hearts absorbing the lesson like parched soil drinking in the rain. One disciple, his face alight with curiosity, asked, Master, is it not wasteful to empty the cup of its contents? Does it not diminish its purpose? The Buddha turned to him, his expression thoughtful, as though measuring the weight of his reply with great care. The purpose of the cup is to hold, not to cling, he said, his words rippling through the air like echoes of truth. Its essence lies in its emptiness, for only an empty cup can be filled anew. The merchant looked at the Buddha, his eyes now reflecting a quiet determination, as though he had glimpsed a path through his inner turmoil. Great teacher, he said, bowing deeply, his voice steady and filled with gratitude. Your wisdom has shown me the way to lighten my heart and find peace amidst my burdens. The Buddha raised his hand, a gesture of blessing and encouragement, his presence a beacon of unwavering compassion. Go forth, child, he said, his voice imbued with the gentle strength of the universe. Empty your cup as often as you need, and remember that peace resides within the space you create. The sun continued its ascent, casting its golden light upon the group, as if bearing witness to the transformative power of understanding. It is the flower of resilience. The fire crackled once more, a reminder of its gentle presence. One disciple broke the silence, his voice quiet but resolute. Master, he asked, how do we know what to let go of, and what to keep in our cup? The Buddha turned to him, his gaze as steady as the horizon meeting the sea. What you keep must nourish, not burden, he said, his voice carrying the clarity of a mountain stream. Ask yourself, does this serve my peace, or does it stir my restlessness? The group fell silent once more, the weight of the Buddha's words settling like the stillness of twilight. And as the day unfolded, each disciple resolved to examine their own cup, to release what no longer served them, and to embrace the freedom of emptiness. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.